Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to ELTea Time, our coffee break style advancing learning podcast series, where each week or every couple of weeks I will be joined hopefully by a guest from someone, an educator, someone here in MENA, and we will discuss a contemporary topic over a nice cup of tea. And today I am joined by our very own Ola Gomaa. And Ola Gomaa is actually, say hello first. Ola, good morning. Or no, actually, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Hi, everyone.
Yeah. How are you
Thank
doing,
you
Ola?
for having me, Nathan.
You're welcome. So Ola is an educational consultant for Macmillan Education. That's how I know her. But she also does a lot of other things, which I'm really interested to hear more about. So she's a youth leader. That's correct, right, Ola? Youth
Yes.
leader? Yep. And she's been doing a lot of work with an NGO on a UNESCO-funded project in Egypt. And I'm not going to tell you much about that because I want her to explain. She knows much more about what she does than I do. Ola, before we get going, ELTea time. What is your tea of choice this afternoon? It's late in the day, so what have you chosen?
I'm more of an Earl Grey person.
Oh, you are?
Yes.
Nice. With milk or just black?
Not just black.
Okay, so we've got
I mean,
black.
come on. If you're a tea person, you like tea black.
Yeah, of course. Do you have with lemon? Earl Grey's drunk with lemon?
No, the classic one.
Just classic by itself, just hot water.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. I've gone very classic. I've gone with English breakfast tea with cold milk on the side and with a little teapot and everything. So here's my
Absolutely classic. Yes.
and classic. Last week I was fruit. This week I am classic breakfast tea. Okay, so guys, whoever's joining us, whether you're joining us on Facebook or whether you're joining us in Click, why don't you tell us what are you drinking for our coffee break? Are you drinking tea or coffee or something else? Okay, so our topic today is sustainability or sustainability in education or education for sustainable development or education for sustainability. A lot of terminology here, Ola. Can get a bit confusing. And I'm going to assume that if that's true, the topic itself can also be a bit confusing for people. So if anybody in the audience has any questions that they want us to answer, please do put them in the chat box and we'll try and address them as well. So I'm going to pitch a couple of questions to Ola, but before I do that, I'm going to pitch a couple of questions to you guys. So I'm going to ask you, what does sustainability in education mean to you? So you take your time, write in the chat box. That's question number one. Question number two is, what do you do, either personally or within your school, that might be called sustainability or that might come under the umbrella of sustainability? So there are a couple of questions for the audience to think about. You can write it in the chat box, or if you're on Facebook, you can write it in the comments box, and we will take a look at them as we go along. We've got 15 minutes. But obviously, I don't want to do too much talking. I want to get started, and I want to talk to Ola. We'll get a bit of a discussion going around sustainability. So, Ola, sustainability, you're with me, right? You can hear me?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Sustainability, it's a pretty hot topic recently. I've been to lots of conferences recently where I hear this kind of term coming up. I'm going to choose the term education for sustainable development. Is that okay? ESD? You okay with that one? Okay.
Yes.
So what is ESD and why is it so important, do you think?
So basically, as you mentioned, sustainability in itself is a very broad concept and it applies almost to everything, right? But let's dissect the concept into very small segments. First of all, let's define what do we mean when we talk about sustainable development. Simply put, we're basically talking about development that meets the needs of the present without actually compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. So this is, in a very, very simple way, what we mean when we talk about sustainability. A lot of people, when they hear the word sustainability, they automatically think we're only talking about the environment, right? So that's what pops to mind when we talk about sustainability. It's all about environment, but that's only one pillar. Surprisingly, it's only one pillar of sustainability. the topic itself, the sustainable development, has three main pillars. When we talk about it, we mean economic development, social development, and we also mean environmental protection. The reason why we always hear about environment in the first place is that it's the core of everything. So basically, you cannot perform any kind of economic development or social development if you do not have a healthy, sustainable planet to live on, right? So this is why we keep hearing the word, or we keep connecting the word sustainability to the environment, because basically environmental protection is the core of the social and the economic development in itself. Now, that's a very hot topic, and we have started to include this in education. And this is where we talk about education for sustainable development. And what we mean by this is basically we're trying to empower the learners in all ages with the knowledge and the skills, the values to address these global challenges that we're facing right now. And once we start at a very early age, it the learners grow up with this attitude, and they have it in their hearts, some sort of a discipline towards developing and working towards these goals. We have a 17 goals, so they feel somehow responsible growing up, thinking about the environment and thinking about that they actually can have an impact. So this is why it's very important when we talk about education for sustainable development to start from a very early age, to prepare students and learners to actually take part in such an important challenge that we're all facing as a planet.
Okay, so there's three strands: social, environmental, and economic, that make up kind of sustainability. Yeah, that's what I got. And then
Yeah.
there's this other part around the kind of educational side, preparing young children, young students, whoever it is, for the future world. So yeah, I mean, if you look at the news, I mean, it's hard to escape these days. Anything on social media, the impact of humanity on the planet, I think. So not just saying, okay, well, things are bad, but how can we prepare them to think about the future? Yeah, this is
Yes.
important. Yeah. Okay, good. Would you say that there's a similarity or a crossover with things like global citizenship? Because we hear that in education, we tend to hear global citizenship or global skills, global knowledge, these kinds of terms, more than the sustainability aspect. Is there a crossover?
It's actually part of the integration, because when we talk about sustainability, we are trying to instill these values in the minds of the young people, or our students overall. And by having this, we are trying to create, let's say, a unified mindset, a global mindset, correct? So
Yeah.
there is a crossover definitely when we talk about global citizenship, because it's all about creating opportunities and being responsible for your actions and how these actions affect the planet and affect everyone else. It's not just your country, it's not just your local area, but everything else on a global scale. So there's definitely a crossover.
Yeah, and there's this interconnected nature in everything we do. There's no more idea of, you know, every man is an island type of thing. Everything you do is connected to people somewhere else, things somewhere else, the environment somewhere else. Just because we don't see it doesn't mean that impact is not there, right? Okay,
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, it's such a big topic, such an interesting topic. It seems like such a massive issue, and it sometimes feels like this perhaps is something for policymakers or administrators to worry about. No, what can teachers do? Like, how can teachers get started with this particular type of topic?
It is indeed a big issue, right? Like when we talk to teachers about sustainable development, and we talk about economic development, social development, and environmental protection, the first question we get is like, how can I simplify such topics to
Yeah,
students? How can I integrate this in my teaching? It's very complicated. The
yeah.
children or the students have a lot already, and it's how do I dissect this?
And I think
So
also,
yes, yeah.
sorry, I'm cutting you off a little bit there, but I also think sometimes teachers might be like, well, I'm just teaching them English. What's this got to do with me? Like, could be that attitude as well, no?
It's actually a great question, and it's definitely there. So let me answer the part related to the policymaker. This is definitely something is in progress already. In 19th of May this year, we had the World Conference for Education for Sustainable Development, where they adopted the Berlin Declaration on Education for Sustainability. So what does this mean? Every member states, every UNESCO member states commits to implementing a new global framework that commits to including ESD as a core curriculum, which means that from now on, and until 2030, all the schools and all the curriculums will be integrated with education for sustainability. So the teachers are going to have a bigger chance to teach this effortlessly, if you may, because there are already going to be topics in their curriculums and syllabus including this topic.
Yeah.
But until now, how can teachers integrate this in a very easy way? It's actually not separated from whatever we're teaching. Like you mentioned, the example of English teaching, correct?
Yeah.
Um, in English, we have literacy, we have storytelling, we have a lot of options where we can actually integrate this. One of my favorite initiatives actually was aimed at children at the age 6. You'll be surprised that you can introduce such topics at a very early age through storytelling. So this initiative was basically about introducing sustainability for the very young age. How we did this is it was a comic book, and we personalized the characters. We personalized the planet. Okay, so the planet is a person who
Mm.
has problems, and he addressing kids. It's illustrated. It's very attractive in terms of image and visuals. So the planet comes and sits and crying and is like, oh, I have so many problems, what am I supposed to do? And the kids come around and they're like, what's wrong, how can we help? And then the planet is like, I don't know, there's 17 problems and I cannot do anything about this alone. So one can step forward and I'm like, but I'm here, I can help. You know what, I'm going to bring a friend, and then grabs another friend, and the friend bring another friend. So we're talking about inclusion as well. So and the plans start to tell them a problem or a goal by goal that we're working on. So first of all, we talk about there's so much poverty in the world, and of course students at age 6, they don't know much about poverty, so we have to simplify it. So the kid is like, what do you mean by poverty, I don't understand. In the image illustrated, the kid is wearing a very decent clothes, he have a very nice backpack and holding a sandwich and nice shoes. So what happens is the planet grabs everything. He takes his sandwich, he takes the jacket, he takes the shoes and the bags. And the kid's like, why are you doing this? You took
Mhm.
everything from me. And I was trying to help you. So the planet would be like, okay, how do you feel then now? And the kid is like, I feel like I don't have anything, and I'm cold and I am hungry. And then the planet, then this is what I mean when we talk about poverty. There's a lot of people who doesn't have anything, and so on and so forth. So we can definitely simplify ideas like this through storytelling
Yeah.
and comic books. And there's also games, digital games, board games, and all of these resources are available there for free.
Yeah.
It's amazing how you can integrate it for free completely. So yeah, in an easy way for teachers to start at least getting inspired, they can go for teachforplanet.org. It's sort of a platform where teachers share ideas about activities they're doing in the classroom, um, and how is this activities affecting the students, and what is the impact, and so on and so forth. They can just get ideas, get inspired, and even share whatever they're doing in the classroom to feel part of a big network
Yeah.
that they are already handling this.
Yeah. Nice. I like the word inspired. That's a really nice word. And actually, there's a lot of really good word that I saw come up in the chat box, which was empowering students. Yeah. So and a lot of things can be tied to this. So someone has all those, but it's amazing how you can tie any topic to this with the right tools. And yeah, like this is what you're saying. So there's elements of social and emotional development in there. You've got global skills in there. You've got inclusion in there. You've got global citizenship in there. There's loads of things going on all at the same time. and you're also developing their language skills through that as well. So yeah, absolutely. So, but yeah, I think I agree. Focus on something. It can be difficult. There are 17 goals, so perhaps narrow it down to a couple that you want to focus on at the beginning, something
Yeah.
like this. So you don't try to do too much and kind of overwhelm your students, but also yourself, I guess. Then I guess the next question, I'm trying to think if there's any questions here. I love the way someone said they can imagine the story when you're explaining. You're a very nice storyteller. I really could. You can visualize it. It's really nice.
Thank you.
My next question then is about time. Teachers are busy people. Doesn't sustainability or global citizenship, can it take up a bit too much time?
That's a fair question. It would if you do it separately, because you're going to be dedicating a specific class for sustainability and so on and so forth. But we're urging teachers to integrate it into their curriculums. So uh, actually, like as we said, there are global plans to integrate this in curriculums, starting from policymakers. But until this is fully implemented, teachers and educators can play a major role. Like, we know something that's called learning through actions, correct? Have a student select a plan and implement, let's say, for example, a climate change or a climate action project. Ask student to work on an action project in a class or during an extracurricular activity, for instance. The goal here is actually to empower students to do a research and to learn and to understand the topic of climate change, and then have them discuss it in a classroom. Let's say we're talking about a language and a literature class. We always ask our students to participate and present ideas and practice communication skills and speak out loud, correct? So we can usually integrate topics like this in the presentation section or the conversation section of our classes. Ask them to write a poem or a story in a response to a certain image we show on the board. So it can be integrated in a very easy way. And also, if we really, if you want to go further, there are so many resources available by UNESCO, and it has a teacher's guide. So you can say we have one of the campaigns, it's called Trash Hack Campaign. There's so many activities, and it break down everything step by step to the teacher, even the timeline that would take a teacher to do a certain activity. It would take 5 minutes. These are the tools, this is the activity, and this is the learning outcome. So they can include it in their sessions, and it will make it fun for the students, and at the same time it will have like an impact on the way they think and behave in the future.
Yeah, maybe I'll take that link from you and I can post it on the academy, the groups, and perhaps
Absolutely.
with the recording for this, people could link perhaps to some of those resources and make use of them, because a lot of this stuff exists, but quite often people don't know where it is or how to find it. So maybe we can help signpost them. You also
I
work for,
love
obviously, we both work for the same publisher, but the publishers are also taking this on board, right? They're doing things. They're integrating some of these concepts as well, right?
Yeah. One of the major things that I love about working for Macmillan is that my passion kind of aligned really with the organizational goals that we have here. Like, as you mentioned before, when you talked about global citizenship, we have an entire series dedicated to global citizenship, which is global stage, correct? And it urges students to become global citizen at every step on the way. Adding to this, we have already started, I think we're one of the very early publishers to adopt education for sustainability in itself, and we're starting the campaign for education for sustainable development, including it in our curriculum, thinking about diversity and inclusion and all the aspect of ESD. So yes, we are very ahead of ourselves here. We're literally pioneers when it comes to integrating education for sustainable development as publishers already. So
Good.
something I'm extremely proud that I'm part of.
Yeah, me too. And it's really, and it's nice how they're integrating it into the books in a way where there's little symbols that shows you this is tackling this particular area of educational for sustainable development. And then that gives you ideas, like you say, it's about being inspired. Oh, this topic, it's about this. How can I bring in a story, or how can I redirect my students to a project that does something in their local, because a lot of this is about doing, right? But getting students doing things in their home environment, local communities, this kind of thing. Yeah, really nice. And last thing I want to ask, because I'm conscious of time, we're talking a lot about inspiration. Are there any examples here in MENA? Because I want to bring this down to the kind of level of MENA. Sometimes we talk about it, there's a lot of words and things going on elsewhere, but what's anything in MENA that's going on that could inspire teachers? I know there is.
Yeah, we're actually currently we are in the first stage of implementing a trash hack campaign project. This project is funded by UNESCO, and it will be the first of its kind in the Middle East overall. What we're doing is we are building an eco classroom in an urban city uh, through collecting plastic bottles, all right, and then transforming and recycling, upcycling these plastic bottles into something that we call eco brick. Plastic is not the kind of material that biodegrade easily in the soil, and it takes millions of years, and then it turns into microplastic. So it's not really, we have a lot of waste and we don't use it in a proper way. So what we're doing is we are using these plastic bottles and we're turning it into eco bricks, using it as building blocks to a building that is going to be an eco classroom inside out. We're using car tires, to build swings and playgrounds, tools and furniture for kids. We're recycling racks into furniture, and we're also including volunteers from the area, kids volunteers, teachers volunteers, in order to be involved in the building process of this classroom. So while we're doing the building, we are also doing the awareness campaign, so that the kids would understand how does the plastic affect the environment, how can we transform it into something useful, how can we cut down our carbon footprint in general, or plastic waste or consumption level overall. So they are included in the process of building, and also in the awareness campaigns that we're doing for this. The classroom inside is going to be also environmentally friendly, because we are going to use either recycled material in the teaching, like the books, digital screens. So it will have a very, very limited carbon footprint, if you may.
Yeah.
And once this, inshallah, gets done and succeeds, we are going to scale the project throughout the Middle East, inshallah. So that's one of the things that I'm super excited about, because it's going to be a shifting point when we look at sustainability, especially in rural areas, where they think when we talk about sustainability, that's a luxury topic. We have much more issues to worry about here. But when they see that we can transform the waste that's literally there, and there's so much waste in the world overall, we can transform this into something that they can use and they can put into action, and they can make it into a school or a building. So this model hopefully inspires people to understand more about sustainability, and how can we change something that's harmful into something that's useful. And having them involved in the building process is sort of giving them ownership and responsibility over the project and the building itself. So yeah, that's in the launching phase right now.
It sounds amazing. I'm definitely going to keep up with the progression of that project and see how it goes. It's really nice. This idea of creating a model to be able to show people, not just be able to talk to people. A lot of I did a lot of work in development before I joined publishing. Yeah, and it can be a lot of advocacy work, but yeah, if you can really show people, give them a really nice model, and then I think that the key part of all of what you're doing there is this idea of participation. I wanted to end with a few tips, and you can certainly add a couple afterwards, Ola, if you'd like to, because I'm sure you have absolutely loads. But we're running out of time. But yeah, one of the first tips I've written down is about participation, getting young people, even children. You were talking about 6-year-olds, even really young kids. Get them participating, not just participating by asking them to do it, to be involved, but in consultation, with dialogues with people. The more people you can bring into dialogue, I think for sustainability and development, the better. A range of opinions. And I think at the heart of that, something that's quite often overlooked within development, or certainly sustainable development, is this idea of kind of conflict resolution. People having different ideas about how something should be done, and coming up and negotiating those kinds of skills. I think young children need to learn those types of skills if we're to make those kinds of progress. I don't know if you agree with that, but that's my personal opinion.
I agree.
Yeah, some other things, tips that I put was, I mean, more in the kind of school level. Yeah, continuously reflect upon what's going on with the school. Small changes make a difference. Whether it's recycling, how things are being used, who's bringing in what. But also, engaging in action research. I bring this up probably in every ELTea time. But yeah, small scale action research, collect data, collect evidence those positive changes, so that you can engage in that, communication with, upper management and the wider team. It can't be an individual aspiration to make a school, sustainable or, eco-friendly. It's got to be a collective effort, I think. So, and you need, small steps, a lot of kind of evidence. They were my kind of tips. I'm working with parents, bringing in, outside agencies, draw on UNESCO, see what's going on within your local, in your country, in your local area. Are there NGOs? Are there, companies doing things that you can kind of draw on and take advantage of? Anything else you want to add as tips? They were kind of my few bullet points.
I think I agree with most of what you're saying, and basically I have that's what I would have said. It's basically integrate actions and make it starting on a higher level, because students get inspired when they see when they see you doing what you're telling them to do, right? You're modeling the whole thing. So when they see that the school is an environment or a green school, that we're not preaching just the idea of sustainability, but we're living by it, I think that would be a very good start overall. And include projects even for summer, like have the children do summer activities when it comes to sustainability, so that they could think about it, and it would be fun projects because they can collaborate together in summer and do things that are amazing. You'll be surprised of the outcomes that we get in our workshops and initiatives that we do. Literally, we're always surprised by the outcome the students bring. And the conversation, when it starts with a child, the child carry the conversation home, and then it affects the parents. That was one of the outcomes that I've never anticipated. However, parents talk to me about sustainability after having a session with their kids, and they like, we want more resources. So your effort is going to pay back, not just for the kids, but you're spreading it all over the community.
Yes, I like what was written there. Mom, we need to save the planet. Yeah, you want those kids to be going home and advocating to their parents and
Absolutely.
questioning what they're doing, making them think. Yeah, I love it. Okay, Ola, I think we've run out of time. We've got to our 30 minutes. So in terms of suggestions for places that teachers can go for kind of more professional development support around ESD or ESDC, as I think sometimes we're calling it here at Macmillan. Ola's mentioned lots of UNESCO resources. We'll post some links to them, so definitely go and check them out. In terms of what Macmillan Education is doing, I mean, we've done a lot of advocacy stuff over the last 6 months. I know that there was some webinars by Jonathan Hadley in the festival. I know we did some stuff, but we need feedback from teachers. So get in touch with the Insights Index program on the Macmillan English website, and give feedback about, what we can do to make course books, materials, the professional development stuff that we do better for you in terms of sustainability and development. And if you want to know more about the Education for Sustainable Development and Citizenship program that Ola was talking about before, the Macmillan one, there's an article on One Stop English. So if you Google One Stop English ESDC, you can read an article about the Sustainable Development Goals and what Macmillan's been doing. And there's also some worksheets there. There's a lot of kind of practical stuff. I think they're for primary, but I'm sure you could adapt them if you had teens or anything like this. They're again, good source of inspiration. And it's all about creating a framework and creating more inclusive content, this kind of thing. And again, we can post links to that as well. For now, Ola, I hope you enjoyed your tea. I hope everyone enjoyed their tea with us. And I hope you enjoyed our discussion around education and sustainable development. Ola, thank you very much. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on our new podcast series, ELTea Time. And that, for me, is it. Anything else you want to add, Ola?
Thank you. It was lovely. It was lovely.
Yeah, it's so interesting, this topic. And next week we don't have a podcast because I'm not here, but we're going to hopefully be back the week after, and I will post that as well. For now, Ola, thank you very much. Here's me with my cup of tea. I would like to thank everybody for joining us, and we will see you again in a couple of weeks. And don't forget, we have one of the back to school webinars on Thursday with the very fantastic Anna Hasper. Go to macmillanenglish.com and you can register for that webinar. And I will look forward to seeing you there, because I would definitely be coming. Motivation in online learning. It's massive. I'm sure it will be interesting for everybody. Awesome. Thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing you again soon. Ola, goodbye.
Thank you. Goodbye.